Plus, Floridians are preparing for Hurricane Ian to make landfall.
And in sports, one Ohio field hockey player earns some new hardware. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Silver Barker.
And I'm Madison Moore. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. The American Red Cross in Athens is searching for more people to give blood.
We talked to the Red Cross about how COVID-19 has affected blood drives in Athens.
The Red Cross is struggling to collect different blood types. At Ohio University, the Red Cross relies on the diverse number of people on campus. Athens and Morgan County Red Cross account manager Jordan Staley says they usually collect around 35 to 40 units of blood from the university, but COVID has made it hard to reach those numbers.
The restrictions that happened because of students getting sick on campus caused us to lose a lot of locations on campus and a lot of blood drives on campus because those specific rooms were used for social distancing different classrooms. So this is the first time that we've actually been able to be on a consistent schedule on the Athens campus in nearly 2 years.
In Athens County, 60% of the population is eligible, but only 3% donate blood. Staley says they rely on other organizations to host blood drives to bring in more people who would not usually think about donating blood.
Unless your family member or your, close friend has ever had to have a blood transfusion, surgery, or something usually traumatic is what causes the information to be spread about this. It's not something that somebody thinks of as super important. And of course, if you are a blood donor, you do realize that because every time you give blood, you can save up to 3 people.
Ohio University nursing student Laura Littlejohn says she realized how important donating blood was when she was hospitalized.
So I decided to start consistently donating blood a couple of years ago. I had my tonsils taken out. I had some complications afterward. I experienced 2 hemorrhages, and so I kind of realized, there really is a big need for blood. It's very important because it affected myself.
The next American Red Cross blood drive will be on Wednesday at Athens Masonic Lodge.
Tonight, candidates for Athens County Auditor are holding an open forum. Hosted by the Athens County League of Women Voters, the event will answer pre-selected questions from the press and public over Athens County's candidates for auditor. Audience members will also get the chance to ask questions to the candidates, and the candidates participating tonight are Rick Wasserman and Jill Thompson. The forums can be viewed live in person at the Athens Community Center or live online at the City of Athens Facebook and YouTube pages at 7. If you can't tune in tonight, a recording of the open forum can be viewed on the City of Athens Facebook and YouTube channels, the League's Facebook page, and the government channel. The 2 candidates in the running for Ohio's U.S. Senate race will debate each other this fall. Tim Ryan and J.D. Vance will debate each other next month. The announcement comes just 1 week after the Ohio Debate Commission said they would not hold statewide debates this year. The first debate between the pair will be October 10th in Cleveland. The next debate will be October 16th near Ryan's hometown in Youngstown, Ohio. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin's plans for a pipeline is creating immense pressure from Congress. The latest government funding plan includes a reform proposal from Manchin that would see the development of a major pipeline through West Virginia. However, Republicans say they may vote against the proposal because they want Manchin punished over his backing of the Inflation Reduction Act. If the latest government funding plan is not passed tonight, a government shutdown would likely be triggered on Friday. However, the Senate is on track to reach a resolution by Friday's midnight deadline.
And good afternoon, I'm your lead forecaster, Erin Ashley. We've had a pretty weird day outside today. We saw a mix of sunny skies, had some nice clouds as well. We even saw a little bit of rain, and as you can see right now, we have some clouds that are just barreling through the region as of right now, but expect those to clear up as soon as tonight. But like I was saying, it brought that chance for rain that's really been just towards the northern part of our viewing area, in areas such as Cambridge and even a little bit in Marietta. Athens, we saw again those showers move through this morning, but as we head throughout the night tonight, expect those to kindly go away. Again, we're still looking at mostly cloudy skies and a temperature at 60 degrees at the moment. And as we head throughout the night tonight, expect those to actually start to level off and drop into the lower 40s. Again, right now those temperatures are sitting in the upper 50s to lower 60s for the majority of our region. And if we look at the forecast for tomorrow, look at that cold front. It is just hovering over our region, and that's bringing around all those cooler temperatures as well as those seasonal lows that we are talking about being in the low 40s. I'll have more about that in my full forecast, but for now, back to you, Silver.
Thanks, Aaron. The trial for the man accused of killing a former Wahama High School football star got underway this morning in Meigs County. Newswatch reporter Curtis Fader was at the courthouse today and has the latest on the trial.
Friends and family of Kane Roush gathered at the courthouse behind me today to witness the trial for Charleston native Jaquan Hall, who is charged with 4 felonies, including aggravated murder, complicity, and conspiracy. The trial for Hall saw numerous delays since his initial arraignment in June 2021 because of new evidence and the identification of 2 other perpetrators in the case, Keontae Nelson and Richard Walker. After all the dominoes fell, last week the court proceedings for Hall's trial finally began, with Roush's family hoping that this will aid them in the grieving process.
We just really appreciate everybody's efforts and their work toward bringing this to closure. It's never going to be the same, but we really feel like this will help bring some kind of closure for the family and help them to get through.
The jury selection process took more than a week to complete, with lawyers electing to interview each potential juror one-on-one in a separate room. Today, prosecutor James Stanley made his opening arguments.
Officers questioned Johnson Ball about the shooting, but they soon became pretty skeptical of his story. Officers ran Johnson Ball's name and date of birth through their system, but could not find a positive identification. When officers confronted Johnson Ball with this information, Johnson Ball finally admitted that his name was Quan Hall.
Soon after, defense attorney George Cosenza filed for a mistrial due to alleged evidence that Stanley brought up in his opening statements, with things getting pretty heated between the 2 attorneys.
Opportunity to prohibit this evidence from being used through evidence by motion to make months ago. Months ago. You failed to do that.
That's nonsense. That is absolute nonsense.
I was certainly giving more than enough time to reply.
Well, thank you, Judge, but that argument makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense because in April or May, the defense counsel knew that the state intended to use that as evidence. The defense counsel could have filed a motion to eliminate at that time.
Now, Judge Linda Warner granted recess at 2:30 p.m. this afternoon to examine the claim, but we still have yet to hear the defense's opening arguments. But we're going to be expecting to hear that and more starting tomorrow morning. Reporting in Meigs County, I'm Curtis Fader, WOUB Newswatch.
Newswatch reporters will be at the courthouse all week covering the trial. Coming up, the White House is looking to cut the cost of air travel, plus how to retrain your nose after losing your sense of smell to COVID. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Another week of high school football is in the books, and now we're on to week 7. On Friday, the Unioto Shermans take on the St. Trace Pioneers in what should be the SVC title game. The New Lexington Panthers travel to Morgan in a battle for the MBL Small Division title. The Eastern Eagles take on Trimble, looking for a win for the first time since the turn of the century. So join us on Friday night at 11:30 p.m. on WOUB. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
This street drove America toward revolution. This street fueled Western expansion. And this street paved the way for the shopping mall. Take a cross-country road trip on a historic highway. Walk a former Native American road. And hitch a ride on a 200-year-old toll road. 10 streets that changed America.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
As Foreign Service officers, you are sample Americans. People abroad will think better or worse of the United States because of what you do.
The State Department had the well-deserved reputation of being extremely elitist.
It was pale, male, and Yale.
fact of the matter was, they could never conceive that a black man could ever be an ambassador.
Rising seas.
Climate change.
A city in peril.
There will be no Venice in less than 50 years.
A race against time.
The lagoon is what protects Venice from further damages.
An engineering wonder.
These gates slowly rise and hold back the high tide.
If Venice changes its course, it can last another 1,000 years.
Saving Venice on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
As inflation continues to impact family budgets across the country, the White House is looking to bring clarity to the cost of air travel and eliminate hidden fees.
Mike Valerio explains what this means for consumers.
After a messy summer at the airports,
there's a better than 50% odd that there's some kind of delay going to affect me almost on a weekly basis.
The White House is cracking down on airlines.
They cancel on you, and you have to pay a fee to rebook. Come on, man.
In the third meeting of the White House Competition Council, President Joe Biden announced new rules requiring airlines and travel sites to be more transparent.
No more hiding the price that you're paying.
Under the Department of Transportation's proposed new plan, airlines would have to disclose upfront any fees charged to sit with your child, for changing or canceling your flight, and for checked or carry-on baggage. Airlines for America, or A4A, a trade group representing major U.S. air carriers, issued a statement, reading in part, quote, A4A member passenger airlines already offer transparency to consumers from first search to touchdown. The council's agenda extends beyond airlines. The group is also looking at lowering or eliminating bank overdraft fees and cell phone carrier termination fees.
Something that's weighing down family budgets. Unnecessary hidden fees.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
The White House is continuing to crack down on airlines in an effort to make travel more transparent, especially while people continue to navigate traveling during a pandemic. Canada is getting rid of pandemic-related border restrictions that have been in place for 2.5 years. Canadian officials said they are removing all COVID-19 travel restrictions starting October 1st. This includes testing, quarantine, and isolation requirements for people entering Canada. A transportation official said travelers will also no longer be required to undergo health checks or wear masks for travel on planes or trains. Similar changes will also apply to cruise line passengers and crews who will no longer be subject to vaccine requirements or testing before boarding.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 1 in 5 adults who have been infected with coronavirus still have long COVID. Those suffering report a wide range of symptoms, but one of the most common is loss of smell. Experts say certain smells can help retrain your nose to regain sense of smell.
If changes in your sense of smell went along with your COVID-19 infection, you're not alone.
Up to 90% of people had some loss of smell.
Most people get the sense back. A study published in August shows around 90% of people with mild COVID before the Omicron variant who lost taste or smell fully regain the senses within 2 years. Others still suffer. Health experts say the loss of smell isn't because of congestion, but rather a change inside you.
This virus actually affects the cells that are directly responsible for your sense of smell. Way up near the base of your skull and the base of your brain. What happens is that not only do you lose your smell, at least initially, but 3 to 4 months later, when these cells are supposed to sort of redivide, you could lose your sense of smell again.
Health experts say you can retrain your nose to regain your sense of smell, and these 4 scents can help: rose, eucalyptus, clove, and lemon.
Use your nose to smell these scents over and over again. You can slowly potentially start to regain some of that smell over time.
A research article published earlier this year suggests essential oils with those scents may help a person recover the sense of smell by stopping inflammation and helping cells regenerate. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Researchers say other essential oils that are known to have anti-inflammatory effects may also help with smell recovery as well. Floridians prepare as Hurricane Ian sets its sight on the state's coastline. That story's still ahead.
Very correct, and actually right now we have it pulled up right here. You can see just how strong those winds are looking. I'll talk about that in my full forecast, but for now, make sure you check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
This street drove America toward revolution. This street fueled Western expansion. And this street paved the way for the shopping mall. Take a cross-country road trip on a historic highway, walk a former Native American road, and hitch a ride on a 200-year-old toll road. 10 streets that changed America.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
On Rivers of Life, visit the river that creates the mighty Victoria Falls, the Zambezi. Home to iconic wildlife, a river of dramatic change, of challenge and opportunity. Experience the Zambezi, Africa's mighty shape-shifting river. Rivers of Life, Wednesday on PBS and the PBS app.
No!
On Finding Your Roots, Lee Daniels.
There were certain things we just didn't talk about.
And Rebecca Hall.
I just couldn't shake the feeling that there was something being hidden.
Family History reveals a murder mystery.
That's a lot to take in. It's complicated.
And an indigenous deception.
Your grandfather was a chief.
It's truly mind-blowing.
Plus, a DNA match.
Hey, cousin.
What?
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Rising seas.
Climate change.
A city in peril.
There will be no Venice in less than 50 years.
A race against time.
The lagoon is what protects Venice from further damages.
An engineering wonder.
These gates slowly rise and hold back the high tide.
If Venice changes its course, it can last another 1,000 years.
Saving Venice on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Again, I'm your lead forecaster, Erin Ashley, and looking outside your window, we've had a very nice day. We're looking at partly sunny skies. That temperature remains in the low 60s. Perfect, beautiful fall day. Might want to bust out your jacket as that low is actually looking a little brisk, low 40s for tonight. But again, looking at the local radar, not much happening as the system moves out towards the east. And if I expand it to our regional radar, you can see that there's a little bit of scattered showers that are developing up here and are going to drop a little bit as the trough system kind of pushes eastward. But overall, we're looking at a nice couple of days before the weekend. And if that, looking at that translation into our visible satellite image, we're seeing mostly cloudy skies, and we're going to start to see a clearing overnight heading into tonight. And looking again at that temperature for tonight, it's going to be a low of 42 degrees. Grab that jacket. It's going to be very cold, especially for this time of year. Mostly clear skies, which again, looking very nice heading into tomorrow. We are still tracking a slight chance for rain for tomorrow. Again, clouds are going to stick around briefly, but it's not supposed to stir up any trouble by any means. Again, that cold front is sticking around. It'll eventually move eastward, allowing for some absolutely beautiful fall weather to move through. That temperature will drop a little bit. 63 is going to be the high, Mostly cloudy skies, just like I mentioned, because of that cold front moving a little bit eastward. And that low is sitting in the mid 40s, and that'll be the same for the majority of our region. And looking at the week ahead, expect for those showers to actually appear over the weekend. 30% on Saturday, going to rise a little bit on Sunday. We're actually starting to track that being the remnants of Hurricane Ian down in the Gulf. But for the next couple of days, expect mostly cloudy skies, and temperatures are going to rise heading into the weekend, hitting a high of 71 degrees by Sunday. And again, like we mentioned earlier, we are starting to track this monster that is down here in the Gulf. It has actually just intensified to a Category 3, and they are predicting in the National Weather Service for that to actually increase to a Category 4 as it develops in the Gulf. And it's beginning to push up towards Florida. And if we look at the radar, you can see that rain showers have since started to hit Florida and are starting to hit populated areas such as Tampa. So if you are planning to go to Florida, don't. But again, looking at the Atlantic satellite, you can see the eye of the storm is just beelining straight towards Tampa, and it's pushing north. And again, We're still tracking for that you can see with this cone right here, it is going to hit the majority of Florida. Main hazards are going to include storm surge, which is just a fancy way of saying that we're actually going to start seeing very high levels of flooding, and as well as rip currents, high winds, and heavy rainfall. And you might even see this chance of a tornado or two. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Madison, who has more information on the storm.
Thank you, Erin. Yes, Hurricane Ian is taking aim and Florida is bracing. The powerful storm is expected to get stronger over the next few hours. Gloria Pizmino has the latest from Tampa, Florida.
Hurricane Ian, still on track to be the first major hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. this year. After slamming into Cuba Tuesday morning, Ian is now expected to bring a life-threatening storm surge to Florida's west coast. And for the first time in more than 100 years, Tampa could get a direct hit.
A slow-moving storm right off of our coast, which is going to bring a devastating amount of water to the Tampa Bay area.
Schools are closing and flights are canceled. Evacuations are underway. Residents are boarding up homes and businesses.
We got to board up the windows still and try and cover up these windows, the door. We still have to sandbag our door after we put some spray foam to keep the water out.
Mike Jackson's store in Gulfport flooded from Hurricane Eta in November 2020. He says he's extremely worried that will happen again or worse.
It was kind of a mess, but we'll get past it again.
Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis warning those who are in the storm's path they could lose power for more than just a few days.
The worst thing is when you lose power. So you've got no power, no water. So yeah, I recommend have plenty of water, even if it's for a few days. So we're battening down the hatches.
In Tampa, Florida, I'm Gloria Pizmino reporting.
Floridians across the state continue to prepare as the potentially historic storm grows in strength and speed. The hurricane is expected to hit Florida's west coast as a Category 3 storm late tomorrow evening.
One Ohio field hockey member is named MAC Player of the Week. Find out who it is when Newswatch returns.
Another week of high school football is in the books, and now we're on to week 7. On Friday, the Unioto Shermans take on the St. Trace Pioneers in what should be the SVC title game. The New Lexington Panthers travel to Morgan in a battle for the NBL Small Division title. The Eastern Eagles take on Trimble, looking for a win for the first time since the turn of the century. So join us on Friday night at 11:30 p.m. on WOUB. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Next time from Antiques Roadshow, travel back to Palm Springs, California.
It's from Marilyn Monroe, and she wore it in the film Some Like It Hot.
This is an iconic dress from an iconic film.
Oh, there's no way.
I have to say, in all my years on the roadshow, it's probably the most exciting find I've had.
Can the values of our Desert Oasis finds stand the test of time? Find out next time on Antiques Roadshow Vintage Palm Springs, Hour 1. Monday at 8 on WOUB.
No! On Finding Your Roots, Lee Daniels.
There were certain things we just didn't talk about.
And Rebecca Hall.
I just couldn't shake the feeling that there was something being hidden.
Family History reveals a murder mystery.
That's a lot to take in. It's complicated.
And an indigenous deception.
Your grandfather was a chief.
It's truly mind-blowing.
Plus, a DNA match.
Hey, cousin.
What?
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
This street drove America toward revolution. This street fueled Western expansion. And this street paved the way for the shopping mall. Take a cross-country road trip on a historic highway. Walk a former Native American road. And hitch a ride on a 200-year-old toll road. 10 streets that changed America.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
Happy Tuesday, I'm Reese Thompson. Ohio field hockey player Michael Littenberg is your Mid-American Conference Co-Offensive Player of the Week. The freshman midfielder earned this title today for her performance last week, helping the Bobcats to a 1-1 weekend with a MAC victory. Littenberg led the Ohio offense with 11 shots, 2 goals, one of which was a game winner and 1 assist.
The Bobcats are back in Athens Friday to face Kent State. Ohio Volleyball junior liberos Sam Steele and junior setter Tria McLean share MAC East Player of the Week recognition this week. Steele is your Defensive Player of the Week, while McLean earned Setter of the Week. Steele led the Bobcats defensively in their 2-match series against Miami this weekend with 39 digs. McLean tallied 73 assists in the wins against the Red Hawks. She also put up a double-double in match 1 again with 30 assists and 11 digs. The Bobcats take a trip to Bowling Green to take on the Falcons Friday. Ohio football looks to improve after its close 59-52 win against the Fordham Rams Saturday. The Bobcats struggled to hold the quick 14-0 lead the offense earned. Fordham found success in the passing game to make Ohio fans sweat before the Bobcats eventually pulled it out. Head coach Tim Albin says the defense needs to tighten up if they want to find success in MAC play.
The explosive pass I touched on. We had a couple of penalties I'm disappointed in on defense. We had 11 total. The 2 personal fouls on defense, we cannot do that. And I maybe touched a little bit on that after the game as far as challenging our guys, how we operate off the field. It's got to start showing a little bit more on the field.
The Bobcats travel to Kent to open MAC play Saturday. Kickoff is set for 3:30 p.m. Staying on the gridiron, one high school team looks to keep postseason dreams alive. The Trimble Tomcats are in danger of missing the playoffs for the first time since 2009. The Tomcats are off to a disappointing start in the 2022 campaign with a 1-5 record. Trimble has one of the biggest matchups of the year against the Eastern Eagles Friday. According to Fantastic50.net, a website that tracks playoff scenarios in Southeast Ohio, the Tomcats' playoff chances rise to 89% with a win, but they drop to 18% with a loss. The same is true for another team in the 7-4-0. The Warren Warriors have a season-defining matchup against the Vinton County Vikings. Just like the Tomcats, the Warriors are off to a difficult start in 2022 with a record of 1-5. Warren improves its chances to make the playoffs to 46% with a win, but a loss drops the Warriors' playoff hopes to just 7%. You can tune to Gridiron Glory here on WOUB Friday night at 11:30 to see how these games and many others shake out. It's going to be a big deal if the Tomcats don't make it. It will be 12 years if they don't make it since. And it's a big coverage team for Gridiron.
Yes. All right, thank you, Reese. And now we're going to throw it over to Erin for final weather.
Thank you so much, Madison. And yes, one final look at your weather. It's actually going to get pretty brisk tonight. We're looking at a low of 42 degrees, but again, mostly clear skies. And if we look at tomorrow, those skies are actually going to begin to thicken a little bit with mostly cloudy skies, and that temperature is sitting in the low 60s. And again, that low is looking rather chilly in the mid 40s for the majority of our region. If we expand to look at our 7-day forecast, we are looking at a beautiful rest of the week with temperatures reaching a high of 70 degrees by the weekend, but those remnants of Hurricane Ian are expected to arrive over the weekend.
And finally tonight, a historic moment. Yesterday at 7:14 p.m., NASA successfully crashed a spacecraft into an asteroid. Although it's been done in movies, this was the first time it's ever happened in real life. The Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or DART, slammed into the small asteroid Dimorphos to change its orbit. The asteroid wasn't at risk of impacting Earth, but the test shows how to protect the planet from a potential threat in the future. It will take NASA time to determine whether the impact successfully changed the asteroid's orbit.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Silver Barker.
And I'm Madison Moore, and for all of us here at Newswatch, stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Support comes from Visit Athens County. More information can be found at AthensOhio.com. Athens, it's more than a place. Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategy.